Hey, hey. Just want to make sure that our audio and everything is working. Okay, that is wonderful. And let me check over here on Facebook. How are you all? For those of you that are watching live, I hope things are going well and that you had a fantastic weekend. All right. Hey, how are you all? I hope everyone is doing well and that you had a great weekend, that you have really just enjoyed some of that extra time. Also, that you enjoyed being able to have a little bit of extra time to sleep in that extra hour. So, what I want to talk about today are three things that you need to know for your sophomores and juniors who took the PSAT. And what you need to know as you are looking at that score report and how to analyze those scores and know what your next steps should be. So, the first thing that I want to talk about with the score report is that the PSAT was different this year than it has been in the past. So, what that means is our students, the previous to this school year, students took the test and it was paper pencil. And so all of the questions stayed the same throughout the entire duration of the test. And students took their, had an answer document, they submitted that on to back to the test proctor, and then that person ended up that they provided them with information about how and then the college board gave them their score report with those answers about how they did. So this year it was a little bit different. Well, maybe a lot different. So the PSAT, that is actually something where students took it online this time. And so there was the English and math section, and then, English and reading, and then the math section. Within those two sections were two different modules. So in the first module, what happened is students had a combination of easy questions, medium questions, and hard questions. And then depending on how you did on that first module would mean that your second module would either get easier or it would be more challenging. It would be more difficult. And so that's something that's really important to know, because some students came in and they said, oh my gosh, it seemed like it was so difficult. Well, it got harder. And so that's okay. If it didn't get harder, that is also okay, because sometimes our students haven't even had geometry, or they haven't had algebra 2, or if they're in them currently, they still haven't had the entire course. And that's a lot of what that math content is going to cover on that PSAT and the SAT and ACT. So one of the things that I want you all to know about as you're looking at that initial score report is that each section, so the English and reading, is going to be worth between 160 and 760 points. All right. Then you have a cumulative score where that math and the English and reading are combined. And so that's going to give you either 320, between 320 and 1520 points on the overall for your cumulative score. So when you're looking at that, one of the things that comes up, and especially for juniors, because when you take that PSAT in junior year, that's what qualifies students for the National Merit Scholarship competition. And with that National Merit Scholarship, there is a certain percentage of students who are invited to participate in that competition for the scholarship. And that is going to be based on your overall score. Well, with this year being different, there have been, you can look at prior years and the cut scores and everything of what score was it that where students qualified for that competition. Things might change a little bit this year, just because, some of that information is just now coming out as far as different test scores. And then there's going to be mid-November, I think around the 15th or the 18th, College Board said that they would be releasing that second wave of test results. So some of that's going to depend. We might not know exactly how or have an educated guess yet about what scores are going to qualify students. And students are not going to actually be notified of whether they qualify until next September. So that's something to be aware of. You might get communication from College Board that says, that students are eligible for that program. And some of that is based on how students answered that question. So if they're a 2025 graduate, and if they are planning to attend college for 4 years after graduation, those are two of the criteria where a student's score might be pulled for that National Merit Scholarship competition. But just seeing that in an email does not necessarily mean that your student did qualify. That's something that we're not going to know until September. Okay. So when you get your PSAT scores back, you're going to see what that overall score was. You're going to see what that score range was. Then the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to be able to see where students scored really well on that PSAT and where their strengths were, and then also be able to see what some of the weaknesses were. And so that can help tremendously as students are looking at, okay, what do I need to study so that next time as a sophomore, next time you're taking that PSAT again, that you know that you can improve your test scores. Or if you're going on and you're taking the ACT or the SAT, it also can help you know where you can improve your scores, and so that the next time that you test, that you are able to get to that higher level and have the score that you are looking for. The other good thing is with the ACT and SAT, the majority of the colleges will super score. So that means that if you take the ACT or SAT multiple times, then the colleges are going to look at the higher score result across however many times you have taken that test. Okay. So the PSAT, this is really, really good practice for juniors that can qualify students for that National Merit Scholarship competition. And then when you can look at those results and see where to focus some of your studying so that you can put your best foot forward with the next time that you take that test. Okay. So the third thing that I wanted to talk about is coming up with a plan for you to be able to study so that you can raise your test scores. And so there are multiple free resources that are out there. There also are paid tutors that students can look at where you would be able to say, okay, this is how I've done. These are my areas of weakness. And so if I study this particular concept, then my score should go up. All right. So one of the things that College Board has actually done is they have partnered with Khan Academy. So, and if you Google this next step that I'm going to talk about, there should be instructions about how to sync those two accounts. So if you take your College Board account, the email address that you have associated with that account, and then you create an account in Khan Academy that's using that exact same email address, then you actually can sync those two accounts together so that you can get very specific and detailed information about what you need to do to raise that score the next time that you take the test. So it's going to see these are your strengths. It's going to see these are your areas for growth. And then it's going to say, okay, go ahead in these areas for growth. If you study this and this and this, then we expect your score to get higher, which is a fantastic, fantastic tool, especially the fact that it's free. Now, if you say, but Courtney, I don't want to take the SAT, I want to take the ACT, that's okay. You still can look at what those test scores were. You can see where your strengths were, and you still can see those weaknesses and be able to study. So that is just a brief overview of some of the things that you can do as far as analyzing your PSAT scores and knowing what those next steps are going to be. I hope that this has been helpful. If it has, leave me a comment below and let me know specifically what was helpful and if there's anything else that you want me to cover. The other thing I would love to offer you is if you are interested in diving a little bit deeper about where to study and how, please send me a message at admin@confusedtoready.com. Or you can send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram at Confused to College Ready. And I would absolutely love to chat with you. And you can have a free 15-minute call and we can dive into this topic a little bit deeper. I hope you have a great evening. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.